From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Ann Hook along with Averi Haugesag. Today on the show there is a misconception of too many lawyers and not enough jobs. We will speak to a woman in the law profession who says that is not the case.
Also, ask a pregnant woman if seafood is safe and the term mercury poisoning may come to her mind. We'll introduce you to a researcher who says the pros far outweigh the cons. But first, shoppers won't have to be waiting until the midnight hour to get their Christmas shopping done. Walmart announced it's opening its stores at 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day. That is 2 hours earlier than last year. The strategic move comes after 9 other retailers like Target and Kmart also confirmed opening their doors on Thanksgiving. This announcement comes after 30,000 people signed an online petition asking Walmart not to open early on Thanksgiving to give its employees a holiday. However, more than 1 million Walmart staffers will be showing up to work this year. The company said it had its most profitable Black Friday in history last year when it opened at 8 p.m. on Thanksgiving. Teenagers have another reason to be careful on social media. A study from Kaplan University says many college admissions officers are checking applicants' pages. 31% of those surveyed say they are doing so to learn more about each applicant. This number is up 5% from last year and is the largest percentage yet. The amount of questionable online content is decreasing though. Almost a third of those surveyed say they found things that could hurt an applicant's chances. This is down a little bit from last year. Social networks like Facebook and Twitter have turned bullying into cyberbullying. School administrators are taking notice. Recently, a 12-year-old girl killed herself after 2 other girls relentlessly bullied her through social media. Some schools now use internet sources to monitor their students. If kids are harassing other students or making other threats against the school, they can find out. While some schools are taking action this way, others handle it in more traditional ways.
Our school counselor goes into the 6th grade classrooms and talks about bullying, and cyberbullying is a portion of that. So it's brought up in several different formats and in several different ways.
Principal Ellickson also says encouraging kids to tell others about possible bullying cases is important. With these new resources, teachers are trending the fine line between monitoring for a problem and putting a kid's privacy at risk.
Teens are liking Facebook less. This was confirmed after CNN interviewed dozens of teens about their social network habits. They're now flocking to sites such as Twitter and Instagram. They say they enjoy Twitter's public nature and the ability to interact with their favorite celebrities. Teens say this is also because of too much drama on Facebook and too many parents using it. Most of these teens still keep their pages even if they aren't posting much on them. Facebook continues to be very popular among older adults. It still has more than 1 active billion users.
Mercury can be found in fish. A lot of people stay away from seafood because of the possibility of mercury exposure. Research says there are benefits that points to the positive.
Of all the choices in the grocery store, seafood is probably one of the healthiest.
Because fish are so loaded with very important nutrients, specifically the omega-3 fatty acids, and you can't get those from other foods.
People are cautious when it comes to seafood, especially pregnant women. For years, they have been told not to eat seafood during pregnancy because of the mercury exposure. In many cases, people still believe this to be true.
Because of all the mercury that's contained in them, it's just not safe. I feel like it's unhealthy for the baby.
The mercury and seafood connection mainly comes from a 1950s case when people were exposed to an excessive amount.
Tons of mercury coming into these small bodies of water, so the fish were hugely poisoned.
Dr. Ralston's research is finding that the mercury in ocean fish is being replaced by selenium. People need selenium to survive. It plays a key role in metabolism and protects cells from damage.
Mercury causes toxicity by binding to selenium and stopping those enzymes from doing their job.
Studies have shown that women who eat ocean fish during pregnancy have had positive impacts on the child and the mother.
The more fish they ate, the more IQ points the children have, the better they do scholastically and socially.
No one can consistently choose the perfect healthy food plan. Dr. Ralston says despite its reputation, seafood should be a part of that plan. With photographer Ann Hook, I'm Christiana Dogan reporting for Studio One.
Ocean water fish is much higher in selenium than freshwater fish. And that's the news for now. Ann?
All right, well, it's good to know that fish are still healthy to eat even when you're pregnant.
Yeah, it is.
All right, let's move it now to Johnathan Metz in the weather studio, who's going to give us some more information about the typhoon hitting Southeast Asia.
Well, thanks, Ann and Avery. Unfortunately, it's not a very pretty picture in the Philippines, where people are trying to dig out from the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan. Survivors are becoming increasingly desperate because they're short on food, supplies, and they're worried that they might have to wait even longer for help. This typhoon affected directly about 10% of the population, and unfortunately in some areas there are festering bodies and a lack of clean water. And that makes a big problem for people who are now worried about disease in the aftermath as well. However, as a bright spot, the United States has dispatched Navy ships and also disaster assistance team to the areas affected. The hardest hit areas of the Philippines were the city of Tacloban, and the official death toll across the country is now 2,344, but 600,000 people have been displaced from their homes. 30 countries are sending aid, However, closer to home, the trees are more vulnerable to winter than you may think.
The change of seasons is welcomed by many, but it has a drastic effect on trees.
They can tend to be pretty vulnerable in the spring because, you know, if it's March and you have the dark green of the evergreen and you have a fresh color of snow and then you get that March sunlight, which is kind of warm, that's kind of where you get that some people refer to as winter kill.
The low temperatures also affect the growth of younger trees.
If you have newly planted trees, we have mulch around them so that the temperature in the transition zone kind of takes its time, you know, keeps the moisture in, but then it also kind of regulates the temperature of the soil. And then vice versa in the spring, kind of gradually.
In order to avoid losing a young tree to the cold, Fugazzi says you must know the right time to plant.
We do probably 85% of our planting in the month of May. Then in the fall, we'll probably do another 10-15% of our planting.
If trees are suited properly for their region, it decreases the chance of trees taking harm in the transition months. This is Riley Brustel, reporting for Studio One Weather.
And in fact, some studies have shown that road de-icing procedures in the spring can have an effect on the tree's health as well. And that brings me to our weather question for the week. What percentage of the United States is covered by forests? Our answers range from 10% to 50%, and that answer will be waiting for you at the end of the show.
All right, Jonathan, we'll find out later. Let's move it now to Avery Haugesag with today's sports story.
Thanks, Ann. Whenever you walk into a bowling alley, you're bound to find that guy. He owns everything a bowler could need, the shoes, the shirt, and even his own bowling balls. We found a man who fits the description.
Bowling is secondary. You go and you hope you do really well, but then you just go to have fun.
Like most avid bowlers, Mike Ellingson owns more than one bowling ball. He owns 6. He has been using them to knock down pins for almost 40 years.
It's just a good way to stay in touch and relieve stress from from my job and stuff. Attaboy, Pat.
The guys he bowls with are both his teammates and his friends.
I mean, we hang out outside of bowling, but most of the time we see each other here.
And here is where both friendships and scorecards grow. Good friends like to poke fun.
Patricia, nice finish.
A little fun and laughter is good every once in a while, especially with a job like Mark's.
42, I may have someone back here.
I'm the sergeant for the police department, night shift sergeant, and this is working on my 26th year.
Law enforcement officials have to deal with a lot.
Bad guys sometimes get rather upset. You know, not everybody is compliant all the time.
Mark isn't the only one in his family dealing with the stress of law enforcement.
It was kind of neat because my father and I worked on this side, and my brother and my uncle were cops on the east side all at the same time. So all 4 of us worked at the same time. But yeah, we still all bowl together. So. Absolutely love it. Sometimes you get frustrated. Other times you're like, oh man,
As Mark continues to bowl, he will continue in law enforcement too.
Yeah, I'm kind of an old fart over there. Yes. I think I'm up again.
Yep. Okay. For at least the next couple years, Mark will continue to knock them down, one criminal and one pin at a time. With photographer Corey Robertson, this is Avery Haugesag reporting for Studio One. In the 38 years he has bowled, Mark has scored a perfect 300 3 times. And that's a sports story for today's show. Ann?
All right, thanks, Avery. Good story. Many lawyers decide opportunity is best found in a metropolitan area. Next, we will speak to the dean of a law school who says opportunity can also be achieved in a rural setting.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by NDAD, helping others to help themselves.
North Dakota is facing challenges in healthcare delivery. The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is building a place to help meet the state's healthcare needs. In addition to a new structure, we're also building interaction between healthcare professionals while building a workforce through expanding class sizes. We're inspiring our youth to engage in healthcare careers and exploring ways to reduce disease. It starts here and ends here, building a better future for North Dakota.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
The University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration, connecting vision to innovation.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
State officials are saying there is a shortage of lawyers in North Dakota. Leaders from the state's Bar Association and law school are trying to fix this problem. University of North Dakota Law School Dean Catherine Rand is here to talk about how the state plans to solve the state's shortage of rural attorneys. Well, thank you for being on the show today, Catherine.
My pleasure.
All right, well, there is a misconception across the country that there is an excess of law school graduates and attorneys, but we find in North Dakota that is not the case. How so?
That's right. The national conversation talks about a lawyer surplus, but here in North Dakota, we're actually experiencing a lawyer shortage. We have the lowest number of attorneys per capita of any state, and because we're in the middle of an economic and population boom, we're really feeling that.
How are you and the North Dakota Bar Association trying to address this problem?
We have a new project called the Rural Justice Project that we're working on in partnership with the State Bar Association as well as the state courts. It got some funding from the state legislature this year, and it's going to allow us to place a law student with a judge in a rural county for a summer internship. And then we'll continue that relationship between the judge and the intern after they come back to the law school when school starts in the fall.
How would you describe the cohesion between the law school, the Bar Association, and the Supreme Court?
We're so fortunate to have strong relationships with the state courts and with our State Bar Association. As the only law school in North Dakota, we are North Dakota's law school, and we're an important part of the legal profession in our state, and that's an obligation that we take seriously.
Would you say there's more an advantage, since it is such a smaller state, that you can kind of build a closer bond with all three of all three of them, all three branches?
Absolutely. Our students benefit from these strong relationships. Just last week, we had the North Dakota Supreme Court out at the law school where they not only judged our moot court competition, but they also heard live cases. So our students had a chance to see real attorneys in action and also get judged as student attorneys by a sitting court.
Well, you referred back to the type of jobs and the qualities that you would want in a law student and what they would be doing with that attorney. What other opportunities can you expect for somebody, a law student that has this type of clerkship?
What we're going to do is, while the student is serving as a summer intern with the judge, we're also going to introduce the student to what it means to be a Main Street lawyer in a rural community. So they'll have some programming with the help of the State Bar Association about the benefits and advantages to rural practice. One of the things that we stress at the School of Law is that our graduates will become community leaders, and there's no better opportunity to do that than in our rural communities across the state.
Well, tell me, how do you think that specifically North Dakota, how are their needs unique from other states in the U.S.? We're talking about the law.
Well, right now, as you know, we've got this wonderful economic boom going on in our state, but it actually is putting a lot of pressure on our court system and on our legal professionals. So there's more legal needs than our current attorneys and courts can actually handle. And that's true on both the civil litigation side as well as the criminal side. So in order for our courts and our criminal justice system, for example, to operate smoothly, we need enough attorneys in order to do that. So for our graduates, there's a huge entrepreneurial opportunity in our state, but they need to be practice ready.
So for law students that they've completed their clerkship and they're now graduates, tell me, what are the advantages and opportunities for somebody that wants to establish a practice in a smaller town or smaller community?
Absolutely. Well, one of the advantages of rural practice is that you get a taste of just about everything. So you don't go to a rural community to specialize, for example, in corporate tax law. You get a chance to see the needs of a community, whether they're family law, criminal law, trusts and estates, business planning, adoption, whatever it might be. And that's a chance to see how the law impacts people and how the law can help people. The other opportunity that I think is really important is the chance to be a community leader, whether that's serving on a nonprofit board, serving school or church, whatever it might be. That's an important role for a lawyer.
All right, well, now we're going to turn it over to you and say, you know, as the dean of the only law school in the state, how is there any, for you, the pressure to get this issue at the forefront?
Well, I think that all of our judges and lawyers in the state are definitely feeling the pressure of meeting the state's legal needs. So we're working together to figure out how we can do that just as quickly as we can. I mentioned that through this Rural Justice Initiative, we're going to place 3 students. We've already gotten requests from judges to add and expand to the program. I know that even some of our federal judges are interested to see if they could benefit from it as well. So I think that the more that we can do and the more quickly we can do it, the better. And that does require strong relationships, and we're very appreciative of the support of the state legislature for this initiative as well.
Last question. How, at the end of the day, when you have these 3 clerkships, how will you be able to determine if this is a success?
The most important assessment of our success is going to be whether or not the legal needs of our state are met. But that's a long-range goal that we will have to constantly strive for. I think what we're going to be looking for is the sense among our graduates that they are interested in rural practice, that they feel capable of embarking on a solo or small law firm practice without perhaps a lot of other attorneys around to serve as mentors, at least in the same community. So that's going to be some of the things that we look at. The other piece of it, though, is the service that we're hoping to provide to the judges in those areas. So we hope that the student work that's conducted actually benefits the judges and the people they serve.
All right. Well, I wish you the best of luck, and thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Coming up, give a kid a toy and they may end up playing more with the cardboard box. We'll talk to an event that takes playing cardboard to the next step.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
Some consider graduation the end of the college experience. For others, it's just the beginning.
And the university provided an environment where I could grow.
And many years after I graduated, I'm still receiving dividends from my experience as a student at UND.
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association is committed to growing the university by growing the alumni family.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
Admire the faculty. They're the ones that kind of helped push me through this.
Courses are hands-on and interactive. The communication program has so many different facets to it. One of the great things about the staff in the communication department is that they love what they do. They encourage you to really critically think and analyze everything you're learning. They're so into it, and it makes you want to be into it.
If you would like to attend a live show, go to our website at studio1.und.edu.
Best friends often know much more than they think about each other. The cast of the 1999 dramatic comedy Best Man is reuniting this holiday season for a sequel. Most of the movie takes place at the mansion of the main character, whose name is Lance. Lance is a professional football player who has his life together. Little does he know his former best friend happens to be writing a biography about him behind his back. Meanwhile, his wife is pregnant with their first child. So when this group of college friends comes back together for the holidays, it causes chaos.
It's important, to show a documentary style romantic comedy that's truer to life than, some PC film.
Production took place in Toronto and upstate New York. The movie also has a signature soundtrack and choreography. Best Man hits the box office on November 15th with an R rating. Super strength is heard about in the comic books and movies. A group of University of Pennsylvania engineering students has made fiction into fact. They have created a bionic arm which they call the Titan arm. It straps onto a user's right arm and can lift heavy objects that they normally couldn't. The creator says it can also help with physical rehabilitation. We want your thoughts on what you would do with a Titan arm for a day.
I would take coal and I would crush it to make diamonds.
I would probably see what kind of stuff it would withstand, see if I could maybe pick up a car, or if I could crush a car.
If I had a bionic arm for a day, I would probably do the really nerdy thing and maybe try to be a superhero.
If I had a bionic arm, I would be a logger, just because I could get logs done, faster. It's a big industry, so you'd get more money.
I think I would go to the wellness center and just show off and finally be the strongest guy in the wellness center. I think that would be really cool.
If I had a robotic arm for a day, I would definitely play video games all day. And because I would have super fast response time, that's pretty much all I would do.
I would just do what I normally do.
A comment from our Facebook page. Joe from Indiana says, call Guinness and tell them I'll break the record for the world's strongest handshake. Mike from Berea, Ohio said, I would pass along my opportunity to a young child or teen who may be living with limbs that are too weak or don't work.
Appliances come in the familiar cardboard box. We met a group that takes this trash and makes it into an experience that they can treasure.
Used and then thrown out, cardboard boxes are something many people don't even consider for entertainment. The lily in the box begs to differ.
She goes by Lily, so we thought Lily in the box, Jack in the box, Lily in the box could be fun.
Lily is taking part in the Cardboard Challenge. The Cardboard Challenge was inspired by the story of a 9-year-old boy from East LA who spent his entire summer vacation making an arcade entirely out of cardboard boxes from his dad's auto shop. The boy's creation is now known as Kane's Arcade.
But this one guy came, loved it, and then brought, like, I guess the whole neighborhood or town or whatever to come and, like, indulge in this kind of cardboard arcade. And I think it's an amazing idea.
From making a cardboard robot to being part of your cardboard robot, the Cardboard Challenge really helps bring out that childhood spirit in all of us.
When I had a box, I would cut the front out of it and I would be in a TV, and that's about as creative as it got for me. I'd probably make a TV now that I'm 24 years old, and I'd just sit in it.
The chance for some creative fun was only one of the reasons that Lily climbed into her box.
I'd rather give the kids candy because I think it's fun to see their bright little faces.
Whether the joy came from thinking outside the box, delivering candy from inside the box, or just having a blast building with the family, the Cardboard Challenge turned those boring brown boxes into something much more memorable. With photographer Jay Millspaugh, this is Tim Allman reporting for Studio One.
This year was the first Cardboard Challenge at the Air Force Base in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Organizers say it's likely to continue in the future.
All right, thanks, Avery. Let's move it back to Johnathan Metz in studio. How's it look, Johnathan?
Well, and Avery, it'll be a nice warm weekend for most people in the western United States, but cooler in the east. It'll be wetter on the east coast, but drier in the southwest. For our weather question, we asked you which percentage of the United States is covered by forests. The answer is 33%, which is a fairly significant part of the country to be covered by frost in the winter. And in Avery, that's the weather for now.
All right, thanks, Johnathan. That's our show for today. As always, you can follow us through social media or get more information on our website. From all of us at Studio One, have a great week.
See you next week.